All right. So today, you guys, I want to share with you um, the 4 keys to overcoming overwhelm. And I am going to share in the chat box, there is a download that you can do where you can download a whole packet of info and kind of follow along. So if you go to AndreaLiebross.com/Overcoming Overwhelm Workbook with dashes in between. So Overcoming Overwhelm Workbook. Okay, you should be able to download that. Okay, so the 4 keys to overcoming overwhelm are the following. Okay, they are things that help you figure out how to manage your emotions. But I want to ask you first, which of the following 3 things do you feel is your most valuable resource? What do you think is your most valuable resource?
Time.
Okay, we've got someone that says time. What else? And you can't really see that too well. What else do we have? Anyone else have any ideas? Money. Sometimes people say money. Okay, money.
Experience.
Experience. Oh, Jamie, you might know this answer because I think.
I'll pretend like.
Okay. Mindset, says Heather. Okay, I am going to say that your most valuable resource out of everything is brain power. Okay, brain power. It's brain power. Okay, because you can use your brain power to make more time, make more money, and sculpt your experiences. Okay, so think about that. Brain power is your most valuable resource. That's where I'm going to go with. Okay. All right. So knowing that, I want to tell you something else about your thoughts that go through your head on a daily basis. Do you know how many thoughts do you think you have on a daily basis? What would you think?
A million.
A million thoughts.
I don't know.
A million thoughts. Who else? Jen, Chelsea, what do you think? How many thoughts?
I don't even know if there's a number. A lot.
A lot of thoughts. Okay.
How
about a lot of thoughts. We've got a million thoughts.
20.
We got 20 thoughts. Okay. Really, the number is 60,000 thoughts.
Oh my gosh.
60,000 thoughts. 60,000 thoughts go through our heads every day. Okay. Now, what do we do with all those thoughts? They all, like I like to say, they just like to swirl around in your head. Pretend you're driving around 465 and you can't get off if you're in Indianapolis. Okay. You're driving around and you can't get off. They just swirl and swirl and swirl. We need some place to park them. Okay. We need some place to park them. We can't park the thoughts anywhere. We don't have a place. So what I'm going to do today is try to help you get some clarity and some clear thinking, because think about it. How many of you say, when I have a plan, I feel so much better? Anyone ever say that? When I have a plan, I feel so much better? Okay. Why do you think you say that?
Because I think
what's so amazing about the plan?
I think I know what's going to happen.
You think you know what's going to happen.
But that's not true. You never know.
You never know. You never know. Okay. So I'm going to argue again, okay, if you can use your brain power to get clear thinking, you probably won't feel so overwhelmed. Okay. So clarity is the first key to overcoming overwhelm. Okay, clarity is the first key to overcoming overwhelm. And I'm going to give you a tool to help you find clarity. Okay, the next key is confidence, or managing how you feel. Okay, managing how you feel. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Next piece is time. Who feels in control of their time? Or who feels like the world is happening to them?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay. I know someone on this that feels the world is happening to them a lot. Okay. So
Try to control it.
all right. So clarity, confidence, time. In the last piece of overcoming overwhelm is overcoming objections, or better yet, not even overcoming them, turning the objections, or the obstacles rather, turning the obstacles into opportunities. Okay, so turning obstacles into opportunities. Because think of how many times an obstacle, like COVID, like your kids being home for school, like what else could we say? Someone not returning a phone call and like you're waiting. Okay. That those things we interpret as obstacles. And if we could only think of them as opportunities, then we'd probably not feel so overwhelmed. Okay. Type in that chat box for me. Tell me what makes you feel overwhelmed. Give me a couple examples of when you think that overwhelm comes up for you. What are a couple things that make you feel overwhelmed? Deadlines, not having an agenda.
I love other people's incompetence.
Other people, right. Okay, that's a thought though. So chalk that away. We're going to talk about that. That's a thought. It's not a fact. It's just your interpretation of what they're doing. Okay. All right. So many things to do. Where to go first? Interruptions, people's incompetence. Okay. Agenda, right? I'm sure everybody can agree with 99% of these, correct? Okay. So all of these things make you feel overwhelmed. So the first tool that I'm going to teach you is something that I call the model. And if you print it out, or if you got to that printout, you're going to have your own example of the model. Okay. And the model has 5 parts. All right. So the model can be used to solve any problem in the entire world. I promise. Okay. I promise. Big problems, little problems, you name it. Okay. So first piece of the model, or first at the top, I always write the circumstances. Okay. Circumstances are facts and they are neutral. So in a court of law, no one would argue about it. No one would argue. Like we could say the world is in the middle of a pandemic. All right. I don't think anyone's going to argue about that. But think about it. How many different opinions or thoughts are there about it out there? And we change our thoughts about it on a daily basis too, right? So your thought about COVID is not a fact. It's just your thought. So thoughts are the second piece. And thoughts, okay, you have choices. They're optional. All right, they're optional. You could think this pandemic has ruined everything. You could think, you know what? It's taught us a different way to go about things. You could think it's causing me a lot of stress because I can't plan. All right, there's all different thoughts. I like to think you're at a wedding and it's a wedding. Maybe you were actually at the wedding. Let's first go there. Okay. So picture that you were actually at the wedding and you are walking around and there's a waiter and he says, take one. Okay. Take one. So it's an hors d'oeuvres. Take one. All right. Those are like thoughts on that tray. You get to choose which hors d'oeuvre you want, or you get to choose which thought you want. It's kind of empowering if you think about it, right? Kind of empowering. All right, so thoughts are the second piece. Oh, you know what? And I'm gonna try something, you guys. I just got a text from technical support, we'll call it, and they are giving me a host key. So I'm gonna see if I can put this in. Yay, I know, and see if I can share my screen. Let's see if that, look at that. I think I can do it. All right, here we go. We're gonna share my screen. This is amazing. Share screen. Okay, awesome. All right, so where are we? We are here, okay? Can you guys see my screen now? Give me a head nod. Okay, awesome. And you're gonna believe me when I told you we tried this all out yesterday. So, all right, so here's the model. And there are the circumstances at the top, facts that are neutral. Then you have your thoughts, which are sentences in your mind about the circumstance. So sentences in your mind, like about COVID, for example. And then those thoughts trigger feelings. Okay? Feelings are vibrations in your body. People say, yes, feelings are super easy to identify. You can figure out how you feel. But I want to show you something. I'm going to switch what I'm showing you on my screen. And look how many feelings you could have. Look at this list of feelings. A lot, right? All those feelings. So yes, it's easy to find, to come up with a feeling, but a lot of times we can use even better words than we even are using right now. So take a peek at that list and tell me, what are your top 3 most common feelings?
Can't see.
Oh, you can't see the list?
Oh, there I see it. Okay.
You got it?
Mhm.
Okay. Top 3 most common feelings. Put them in the chat box.
Figure that out.
What are your top 3 most common feelings? Worn out, exhausted. Yeah. Anyone else? Frustrated, curious, eager. Oh, Chelsea, I like those. Is that every day though? Are you always curious, eager, and anxious?
What?
Somewhat. Okay. Okay. Inspired, apprehensive, optimistic. Okay. So here's the thing. We can come up with our top 3, and then we can come up also with our top 3 that we aspire to. Okay. So I'm going to think that Chelsea always is aspiring to be curious and eager, not so much anxious. Okay. But think about that. So there's the 3 that are the most prevalent, and then there are the 3 that you aspire to. All right. They're different. All right, so keep that in the back of your head as we go through this. Okay, I'm going back to sharing my PowerPoint, my amazing PowerPoint. Here we go. So, okay, so that next line is feelings, and then those feelings trigger action. They trigger action, okay? So they trigger some sort of action or inaction or reaction. Okay, and then whatever that action is, it triggers a result, which is the ultimate effect of everything, and the result is always evidence of your thought. See that little dotted line that goes back from results to thought? Okay, it's always evidence of your thought. So I'm going to show you an example. here's an example that I created that may or may not speak to you. Okay, but it seems like it may speak to you based on what's going on in the world today. Okay, so read this circumstance line. I have a deadline to meet. I need to call back my mom. I have a presentation to create, and I need to pick up a kid at 4:30. Can anyone relate to this type of circumstance?
My thought would be like, my thought would be, oh my God.
Yeah, so your thought is, oh my God, or this is a lot, okay? So this purple column is your brain on automatic. And you can replace things in there. If you don't have kids, you can replace it with something else, okay? So your brain is going, this is a lot. And you're feeling overwhelmed, right? Because that thought triggers the overwhelm. And then when you feel that overwhelm, what happens? Or what doesn't happen is maybe a better question. What doesn't happen? It doesn't happen. You may start to spin. You may be stuck, or I like to say paralyzed, right? And once you're feeling that way, or once that action of stuck happens, the result is nothing. You sit there and say, what should I do for my to-do list? Or you pick the really super easy things, not the things that require the brain power. All right? Now, look over here in this gray column. This is your brain with intention. This is your brain with intention. Okay, so if you are being intentional, you could say to yourself about all these circumstances and facts, I've got this. And you might feel in control. Okay, I just had to do that right now at the beginning of this presentation. I had to feel like, okay, I've got this. I'm in control. I know what to do. All right. And then guess what? I executed on it. This is kind of funny. The action here I put in the gray column is execution. So I just had to execute. I had to keep going, right? And the result is it gets done. And notice that those things in the result line are always evidence of your thought. So it all gets done is evidence of I've got this. And the result of nothing is evidence of this is a lot. You guys with me? Okay, so I want you to really put your own examples into that model. Okay, now here's something that's really important. Going back to that feelings list. We all kind of identified on a daily basis what our 3 most common feelings are. Okay, so I want you to recognize that if you're feeling anxious, and that's the feeling that's in the feeling line, there's a thought that's triggering that anxiety. Okay, so if we put up here as our C, COVID, for example, we'll just use that as an example. Okay, if the C is COVID, you have a thought about it, and if you're feeling anxious, you have to go back and ask yourself, it's not COVID that's causing the feeling of anxious, it's your thought about COVID. Okay, so it might be like, we can't plan anything. Okay, and notice that we can't plan anything is a thought, it's not a fact, because you can plan what you're doing, in the next hour. Okay, we know nothing's changing that fast. Okay, so we can't plan anything is not a fact, it's a thought. It's a huge distinction, and that thought is what is creating the anxiety. It is not COVID. Okay, so Maggie said at the beginning, she said, incompetent people.
Oh, no, I was reading that.
Oh, you're reading that?
Yeah.
All right, but we've all felt this way. I'm just gonna, I feel this way, like people, like, can't we get our act together here? Like, what's going on? Okay, we've all felt that. All right, but really that thought of why are these people, or not, people are incompetent, it's a thought, it's not a fact, because the fact is we have people in the world. My thought is not everybody is competent, and then my feeling is frustrated. Okay, you with me? Because I'm sure those same people, other things, I might have a different thought. If I wasn't engaging maybe with them in a business transaction and we were just out, I don't know, playing a sport, I might be like, wow, they're a really good tennis player. They're competent in tennis. So it's a thought about the person. Yeah? Questions, thoughts on that? So notice now, if you could change your feelings to always being the curious and the eager, okay? If we could change, we could make this feeling line always curious. What kind of actions would that trigger? What would, if you're feeling curious, what do you do or don't do? You engage. Okay, I'm with you. All right, so you engage, says Alicia. And when you're engaging, then what is your result? There's something probably good. Okay, so I want you to ask yourself, what would your world be like if you could change your top 3 feelings or your most common 3 feelings out there? Okay, so if you're trying to grow a business, okay, and you're feeling anxious and frustrated and out of control, okay, how is that helping? What kind of actions is that creating for you? And what kind of result are you getting? So if you're a business owner out there, what kind of actions do you need to take in order to get results? What do you need to do? Even if you're not a business owner, but whatever profession you're in, what do you guys need to do in order to get the results you want?
Be optimistic.
Be optimistic. All right, so that's a feeling. You have to feel optimistic, right? I actually don't even love optimistic because it's kind of has that little doubt piece in it. Like maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I would say confident. Oh, look at, yes, you have to feel confident, right? So whatever your action is in your business, it probably is coming from, a good thing would be if it's coming from a place of confidence. All right, so that brings me to my next key to overcoming the overwhelm: confidence. Huh, look at that. You guys are perfect segue people. Okay. So if you are feeling confident, you are going to probably get the result you want. Now, the key is feeling confident. And how does that actually happen? It's not so easy, is it? And sometimes we feel confident in one area and not so confident in another. So here's a funny cartoon that maybe you guys can relate to. So, and I'm very sure of myself. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, sort of, maybe, unless someone is against it. Okay, who's felt like this? You're like, yeah, I got this. Maybe not. All right, so I thought this was very relatable. All right, so here's what confidence is and is not. Okay, here's what confidence is or is not. All right, so confidence, I'm going to argue, is something that you create for yourself. And if you follow my model, and if we put confidence in the feeling line, okay, which is key to growing a business, it has to come from some sort of thought. So yes, you indeed get to create it for yourself. Okay, but you have to be willing to experience negative emotion. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable and to do the hard things. All right, so confidence is not a luxury. You weren't born with it. Your parents didn't give it to you or not give it to you. It's not innate. You know, I mean, that person, she always just is really confident. No, that's not true. Okay, she's not just always really confident. All right, so confidence is the willingness to experience defeat or embarrassment or judgment or humiliation, right? Because think about times when you haven't felt confident. Give me an example of a time when they didn't feel confident. Anyone think of something in their lives right now that they didn't feel so confident doing, saying, being in a place. Okay, anyone? I'm gonna say, what if you are not feeling confident that you can't like do it all? Okay, I don't know if we're all women on here. I kind of feel like we are. So has anyone ever felt like, how am I gonna be able to do this all? Okay, that's your thought, my friend. There's no way I can balance this all. Or I'm not sure how I'm gonna be able to grow this business and be an amazing spouse, parent, mom, daughter. Okay, that thought is triggering the overwhelm or the lack of confidence, or feeling incapable, or feeling like you're horrible. Okay, so you need to start creating these thoughts that create confidence. So a thought might be, you know what? I am your thought. Okay, so let's say the fact is you've got your business and you've got the rest of your life going on in the background. That's the fact. All right. So I sometimes put in this line like 2 kids, 2 dogs, 1 husband, 1 business. I put that in there a lot. Okay. 2 kids, 2 dogs, 1 husband, 1 business. All right. So that's the circumstance. And guess what? It's not changing. I don't think anytime soon. It's a fact. So that circumstance could trigger, oh, so many thoughts in my brain. Like, there is no way I can be successful at all of this. I can't juggle it. I can't do it all. If that's what I'm thinking, then guess what? I'm already kind of defeated before I even start. But how about I just change this to, this is a lot, but that's okay. This is an amazing phrase. Everybody write this down. It's gonna be like your new favorite friend. Okay, but that's okay. But that's okay. This is a lot, but that's okay. I have to perform at work and at home. That's okay. I've got this. Okay. And one of my other favorite phrases is, B- work that is turned in is better than A+ work that is never turned in. So maybe we get takeout. Because I was working with a client late. Like, okay, we're all gonna live. It's all gonna be okay. Okay, it's all gonna be okay. All right. Maybe we, maybe like, I don't know. Maybe I don't fold the laundry for a whole week. Okay. Maybe I don't post on social media like I wanted to. Okay, it's all okay. It's gonna be okay. But you've got to have that thought about the circumstance that's going to give you the feeling you want. I don't think anyone wants overwhelm or out of control or incapable in that feeling line. So you really have to ask yourself, like, get curious. Talk about curious. Ask your brain, what do I need to be thinking in order to feel confident? And this isn't about brainwashing, by the way. This isn't trying to believe things that aren't true. Okay? Because I know that you can do it all, because guess what? You're doing it right now. May not be perfect, A+, however we want to define that, but you're doing it. All right. So remember that you get to decide what your thought is about the circumstances, and whatever that thought is, it's going to create that confidence or not. Okay. So you may be embarrassed that everybody's eating chicken nuggets every night. All right. You may be, you may feel uncomfortable when you go to give that speech or webinar, okay, because you've never done it before. But you have to say to yourself, I can do this, because you can. Okay, so there's 3, I'm not going to get into this in depth. This kind of thing, this creating confidence, is something that I work with my clients on a lot. Okay, and there are really kind of 3 steps to creating that confidence. Quickly, you know, it's really about like recognizing what's going on in your brain. That little voice in the back of your brain, it's kind of like your ego. What's it telling you? It's telling you you can't do this. It's telling you this is a lot and not saying it's okay. All right, so that's meeting your ego. Nurturing your spirit, that's you recognizing that you can do a lot of things. You are good, at many things. So when I say meeting your spirit, like could you make a list of 100 things that you appreciate about yourself? Maybe you're really good at explaining things. Maybe you're really good at making pancakes, okay? Maybe you're really good at QuickBooks when other people aren't, okay? Maybe you're, you know how to manipulate a transaction and other people don't. You guys take some of this stuff for granted about yourself, but it's all true and out there. So meet your ego, give that little voice in the back of your head a name. Make a list of 100 things you appreciate about yourself. Okay. And then, retrain your brain to quiet the little voice back there and go with kind of like the real you, what you want to do. All right. So if you think about, let's just think about the fact of being a working woman. Let's just go with being a working woman. All right. Now, that little voice back there might say, you can't do this all. I don't know how you think you're going to do it. All right. The real you, like sometimes I say, well, the real Andrea, please stand up. The real Andrea knows that she can do this. It may not look pretty, but she can do it. So that's nurturing my spirit. And then I have to retrain my brain to say, thanks so much, little voice back there. I hear you telling me I can't do this, but the real Andrea is going to stand up. All right. So before you can declare that out into the world with confidence, you yourself have to create those thoughts and to retrain your brain to listen to those kinds of thoughts that you can do this. Okay, you with me? All right. So next, moving on to the third key to overcoming overwhelm. If you have any questions, by the way, please feel free to shoot them into that chat box. All right. So purposeful and productive time. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little story about me. Okay. I've got two kids. They are 19 and a freshman at IU and 16 and a junior at Buff. And I've got the two dogs, which are huge, ginormous dogs that I really didn't want, but that's another story. Okay, two ginormous Leon Burger dogs, and one husband who is a physician. Okay, so way back when my kids were little, I thought I had zero time to do anything, and I had no help, which kind of was a true statement in a way, because my husband was working super long hours, couldn't depend on him for anything. Like he had could not take on any responsibilities. It was all on me, and I felt like I had zero time. All right, fast forward 16 years, I still sometimes feel this way. And now I don't have two little kids. I have two big kids who both drive. I still have dogs that now I have learned to like not worry about as much, like they're gonna live. Okay, they're dogs. And I still have one husband who still is in the same field, doing the same thing. Nothing has changed. All right. But I still, 16 years later, think sometimes I have no time. So when we tell ourselves like it's going to be way better next week when this project is over, or it's going to be way better when I can just get some help around here, it's going to be way better when whatever, you know what I'm talking about, right? Can everybody relate to this? We all think it's going to be way better sometime in the future. Okay, but sometime in the future, there's something else that comes along. So guess what came along for me? I have a business that is thriving, and I am coaching all week long, which I love. So this isn't a complaint, but that is now that's taken up tons of time. I want it to be there, but it is taking up tons of time. So there's always things. Now, if you had told me that I would be coaching, 30 hours a week when my daughter was 1, I would say you would have been nuts. Like, wasn't even in my brain as a possibility. But now here I am. So that's taking up my time. All right. So how can we be purposeful and productive with our time, no matter what's going on, no matter what the circumstance, okay? And no matter what stage of life you're in. All right, so here is a funny cartoon again, which I think we probably all can relate to. Is there anything we can buy out there that's gonna help us squeeze those 12 hours of work into an 8-hour schedule? Like, can we go to Staples and buy some compression program or download it? We can't, right? We wish we could, but we can't. All right, so here is a tool that you can put in your toolbox. So now you've got the model. Okay, that's the first thing where we got clarity. You've got recognizing that little voice in the back of your head, giving her a name, saying, hi, I hear you, but the real Andrea is standing up. And now you can use this tool. This is called the Eisenhower Matrix. And you may have seen variations of this out there in your past, but this is my variation, okay? So I bet you all, who has a to-do list? Everybody. Okay, type in the chat box, how many things are on your to-do list?
Gosh.
How many things? I'm gonna guess no one says 1. Heather says it's endless. Okay, Alicia says she stopped tracking. Jamie said 8. Impressive, Jamie. Chelsea says for today, 10. Okay, no one says 1. And Maggie's like, I have no idea. I just look at my tracker and it tells me what to do next. Okay.
I have a lot. It would be overwhelming. I have a lot of,
look at that.
I don't want to know all of it.
Okay, so we all have that list. All right, if you look at that list, I want you to ask yourself, and if you actually have it with you, this is awesome, okay? If you look at that list, I really want you to ask yourself, oops, wait, don't go, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. Okay, if you look at the list, what's really urgent? What is really urgent? Like, it must get done today. Okay, there's some things on there that probably that are urgent. Okay, now the things that you've labeled urgent, out of those, what is important? What's important? There's some things that are important. All right, now if you look at your list, there may be things on there like call the doctor and schedule the appointment, send the email, return the email, buy the ingredients for whatever recipe you're making tonight. Like, those things have a time attached to them and they're important. And our brain goes right to them because we can check them off. Are you with me? You can check them off and you are doing them. You are doing them. So our brain wants to find the things that we can do. All right. And that there's a clear objective, like you made the phone call, you scheduled the appointment. All right, and there's the things that you have everything you need to accomplish the task, like you know what ingredients are going in the recipe. All right, and when you get the ingredients, you know you can create the dinner. All right, so our brain wants to go to the things that we can do right now. We spend lots of time in that do box. Okay, now, because we like to check things off. Where we don't spend a lot of time is in the box where things are both important, but yet not so urgent. These are the projects. So does anyone have on there something like clean out the garage, or schedule all of my social media posts for the next month, or figure out how to start a business, or decide what I'm going to do before I ask for the promotion? All right, Maggie wrote clean out my daughter's desk. Yeah, this is classic. These are things that are important, but they're not super urgent. They don't have like a deadline to them. All right, so those are things that I call projects. They're the projects. And we need to plan them in order to get them done. You're not just going to wake up one morning on a Wednesday and say, oh, I've got 9 to 10 available. I'm going to go clean out my daughter's desk. Like, you're not going to do that. That's not happening. I'm telling you, unless you're some miraculous person. Okay. So we need to plan them. But here's the key kicker to the planning. You have to break things into pieces. You have to break it into 10 parts or 10 tasks so you can move those 10 parts into the do box so they become more like tasks that you can check off. So my example here was, you know, you were talking to a client and you said, oh, you know what, I'll follow up and I'll send you an article about this because there's so much written about that. All right, so I'm going to use Maggie as an example. Okay, so Maggie on this call is a CPA and a bookkeeper, and she likes QuickBooks and I don't. So this works out really well, our relationship. Okay, so back a few months ago when that whole PPP loan thing was going on.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Okay.
Still living
and
the
Jamie
nightmare.
probably knows about this too. There were lots of articles out there about it. There was lots of info floating around in the universe. Okay, so if Maggie or Jamie said, I'm going to send you an article about it, they may have had to sit down and say, okay, number one, who exactly am I sending this to? Should I just send it to Andrea or should I send it to some other people? That's a piece of this puzzle, my friends. Then should I send it today or should I send it tomorrow? Because tomorrow they're going to come out with another piece of info. They're going to change, government's going to change the scheme on this. So maybe I should wait. Okay, that was number two. Number three, let me go Google. Okay, so you guys get my point. You've got to break the task in two pieces. On your to-do list should not just be send article, because it's not going to happen. It's a project. Okay, with me on that? Anyone have any questions on that? Or looking at things that you don't even know how to break into pieces? Okay, so last piece, okay, or not last piece, but third piece of that Eisenhower matrix is delegate. All right, and if you are not the only person in the world that can do something, I'm going to argue you can delegate it. Now, sometimes you may say, no, it's just going to take me too long to explain. Okay, but in the long run, it's going to help. It's going to help. Like, I could really become an expert at QuickBooks. I know I could. But I don't want to be, first of all, and I'm very willing to delegate it. Okay? So delegate. My favorite example of this is laundry. Are you guys the only ones in your household that can fold the towels? I'm going to go with no. You are not the only person, unless you're living by yourself and your cat can't fold towels, okay? But you can delegate towel folding, okay? They may not be perfect, may not be A+ like you want it with the like fold facing out, but they can be folded. All right, so that's my delegate example. All right, the fourth piece of the Eisenhower matrix is eliminate. And I want you to ask yourself, what on that to-do list can be eliminated? Is there something on there that's really not serving you or helping you move towards having a successful business or having a successful career? Is everything on there really necessary? And maybe a better question is it necessary for today's list or should it go on a future date? And if you have a planner, digital or otherwise, take something that's not necessarily for today and go put it somewhere out in the future. Put it in October and don't think about it until then, as opposed to rewriting it every day. Keeps moving from day to day to day, the list from day to day to day. Stop moving it. Assign it a time in the future and do it then. Okay, so eliminate. Now, Netflix, okay, is it helping me get towards my goal? Is it really necessary? We could make arguments that yes, it's necessary because it's entertainment and we all need to turn off our brains. I'm with you, but in reality, watching 7 hours straight of Ozarks is not necessary. Okay, so we can eliminate that. All right, okay, so your turn. If you printed out or downloaded, you have this Eisenhower matrix and you can kind of think about what do I need to do? What should I plan? what can I delegate, and what can I eliminate? Okay? This is something that I spend a lot of time with my clients working on because it's not so easy. It's not easy. And there's so many other tools that we can use too, but this is just a basic one. Don't ask like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? Who's said that to themselves? Like, this is not rocket science. If I'm so smart, why can't I figure this out? It's not, nothing's broken. Nothing's wrong. You're 100% normal. Okay. We can figure it out. And this is sometimes something that people need a lot of help with. Okay. Especially this plan box. It's really hard to wrap our head around breaking things into parts. It just is. So we can work on that. All right. Last piece, overcoming overwhelm, is turning obstacles into opportunities. And this really is kind of summarizes everything we've just talked about in the beginning, or in the past 49 minutes. Okay. So while someone may think of something as a problem, someone else may think of it as an opportunity. Right? Okay. So what has to happen is you have to come up with some different thoughts. Okay. So here is someone's brain. Okay. The purple bubble is his thought about a coworker potentially, or a spouse, or anyone else. Okay. And that is, he's thinking that this guy, whoever he is a problem. Okay. So if we did a model, at the top would be man, who I am talking to. The thought is, this guy is a problem, which is creating what? Frustration, angst. How could you turn this into an opportunity? Oops. What it really comes down to is you changing your thought. You know what? He's not going anywhere, and this is a good opportunity to practice dealing with difficult situations. So you've got to change your thought. Here's another one. Okay, so you lost the sale. That could be the fact, really. And then you think, I am so bad at this. Okay? Is that really serving you? I'm going to go with no, it is not serving you. Okay? What can I learn from this situation? Or that's a question, it's not really a thought. I can learn from this situation is the thought that could turn this obstacle of the lost sale into an opportunity. You with me? Anyone have any obstacles that they're really trying to overcome right now that they want to share? Feel free to put them in the chat box, and we can turn these obstacles into opportunities. But here is a whole list of obstacle thoughts. Okay, like lack of communication, unable to stay engaged and motivated. These are thoughts that are going through your head. I am horrible at project management and organization. The attitudes of all these other people are just not good. Okay, all this stuff in the purple column. What if you changed it to an opportunity? It really comes down to changing your thoughts, because then that changes how you feel and what you do with it. You with me? Okay, so you have an example in your packet where you can practice this on your own. Okay, so summarizing 4 keys to overcoming overwhelm. If you want to be smart and successful in your business or your career, you really do need to have clarity, and you can use the model. You need to have some confidence, and you can retrain your brain on thinking thoughts that will help you create the confidence. You need to use your time purposely and productively, and you need to be turning your obstacles into opportunities. So that is the end of my presentation. I would love to take some questions, and I would love your feedback. So if you head to my website, there's a feedback form on there, and that's really my research. It really helps me help you next time I do one of these. And then I would be remiss if I did not mention what I do every day. So what I do every day is I work with people one-on-one to help them overcome the overwhelm, okay? But what I really do is I help them make decisions about themselves and their business that allow them growth, okay? So I help them create thoughts that they need to have in order to grow. A lot of my clients feel trapped, okay? They kind of feel trapped in their current situation. All right, they may feel trapped, even if they have a thriving business, they just can't figure out how are they gonna scale it. They may feel trapped in their current job. It doesn't mean, also remember this, it doesn't mean that they don't like what they're doing. They're not disgruntled or unhappy, but they may feel like they need help, kind of like putting a new, fresh set of glasses on. And that's really what coaching is about. And you can't, and it's hard to do that all by yourself. It just is. So coaching is like a guide, having a guide or a Sherpa to carry you through that journey. It's like you're on a journey. You're climbing up a mountain. There's obstacles along the way. There's a boulder field and a mudslide and a windstorm when you get to the top. And I'm gonna help you navigate all those obstacles so we can turn them into opportunities. So I would love to chat with you if you are interested in learning more about coaching. And you can go to my website and you can schedule a call. So clearing the path of negative thoughts. Maggie put that in the chat box. Do you want a little help on that?
Oh, that's just kind of like what I'm getting as like takeaway.
Yeah. What are your biggest takeaways? Share with me. What do you guys think? What are your biggest takeaways?
That's my main takeaway.
Okay. Mindset shift. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is I want you to feel like you are in control of all of this. You are in control of clearing the path of negative thoughts. You are in control of what's going on in your brain. Okay? Totally in control. I'm happy to help, but you're in control of it. You can do this. And you do have it within us. You do have it within you to move forward. Yes, you do. No matter what stage you're at. There's no obstacle that we can't turn into an opportunity. There's no right time also to do something. I want you to recognize that. There's no right time. Think about when I had 2 little kids versus now. Like, I still don't have enough time, potentially. All right, so there's no right time. So I'm working with these 3 other women, and we're all doing a webinar over the next few weeks. And I purposely went first, because unless you are creating the thoughts you need to move forward to be successful, then all the other stuff doesn't even matter, right? This is really the foundation. So 2 weeks from now, Cresta, or actually next week, Cresta is gonna talk about being financially savvy. Okay, like we can do this, women. We can be super financially savvy, all right? She's got some really good ideas. So want you to join that one. Then we've got Kim, she's talking about personal branding. And then Ashley is gonna talk about social media. So go sign up for those and just join in over the next few weeks. But this is really, really the foundation for moving forward. So I hope that helped. Anyone have anything you want to ask me or work through? We've got a couple minutes. Alicia, do you have anything that you want to work through? Or who else didn't we hear from? Oh, there's Alicia. Hi.
No, I think I'm starting a business.
Okay.
And I've been at home. So I think the delegating is a good tip. It is just, and it's challenging when you have the obstacles, and I think it's, I feel like things can always come up.
So think about this. Okay. So you've been home for a while. Mm-hmm. All right. So you're still going to be home, but
Yeah.
what you think of as an obstacle, it's your thought. This is an obstacle is a thought.
I don't know how to turn
Okay.
that off.
So like little kids, or I don't know what your kid's situation is, but
I have one homesick today.
okay,
So I thought,
okay.
I'll put him in. He can be downstairs sick. I mean, it's just hard.
Right. So childcare, okay? Like you could think of that as this big obstacle. There's no way I'm going to start this business. I'm going to need some help and support. All right. So you could be like, childcare is an obstacle. Or you could get curious and like ask your own brain, how can I figure this out? Like get curious. Like the answers are in here. They're all in here. You just have to like almost like suck them out with like a suction cup. Okay. Or else you're just going to go in that repeat cycle. Like there's no way, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way. So you have the power to decide whether it's an obstacle or an opportunity. And you have to kind of decide which thought is serving me more. So maybe this is an opportunity for you to experience what it's like to maybe not be the primary caretaker. I don't even, just making this up, right? Or not be in charge of, not be CEO of the household.
That is my
Okay.
role. That has been my title.
Okay. So CEO, maybe it's time to share. Maybe there's co-CEOs. Crazy thought, I know. It's a crazy thing. Or maybe the CEO needs to be a better delegator.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it's going to be.
Right? So maybe you're going to just have to get better at delegating, and that's okay. You can do it. This is going to be a new muscle that you're going to have to strengthen because you haven't worked on this muscle in a while and hanging out there. Okay. So this delegating muscle is a new one that you're going to have to strengthen, but you can do it. I talked about yesterday, I was talking about your follow through muscle. Like it's a muscle that we have to strengthen because we don't always follow through. Okay.
No, I set a goal, and I've been working on it small. Like I've established the LLC. I'm doing these baby steps, but
Okay.
then yeah, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
moving forward, and then something happens, and then
Yep.
so
That's what happens. That's what every business, that's the same as every business. I would caution you to not get all stuck in the LLC-ness, okay? Although it's super important, but there's a difference between what I call passive action and massive action. So our brain wants to go do all the LLC behind the scenes,
yeah,
which needs to get done. But eventually we have to kind of like forge ahead and go do the massive action to really create and grow the business.
okay.
That's good.
Yes, I know. I'm gonna have the big stuff. Okay,
We can talk about that. I can help you.
sounds good.
I say,
All right.
Um,
Bye guys. Oh, go. Yes.
I was going to say, this year my husband became a stay-at-home dad, so I could do this full time, and just, I guess, referencing back to Alicia, our house went from an A to a B minus, but that's okay.
That's okay. Yes. Yeah, so
Right?
you've had to really.
And it's
That's
really hard for
probably
me
hard.
not to interfere, but I'm not doing it.
Well,
Yes.
that's the thing, like the chicken nuggets, like that same thing. If
Yeah.
it's okay if the towels aren't, I'm like, okay, I have to let
You know,
someone-
it's like as women, it's almost shameful. You know, we get shamed for wanting to do something that isn't house related.
Right. Right. Or also not. And maybe yes, that's true. But and also like you get shamed for the chicken nuggets. Like they can't be eating chicken nuggets every night.
Like that's like making dinner. Like you have to be like this gourmet chef or like.
Yes.
Like I don't cook it unless it comes from a box from the freezer.
Hey. Right. So there's that. Okay. So shame is a feeling. Right. So maybe if we just want to generalize Maggie's thoughts, like this is what a woman is supposed to do. Okay. And I'm not doing it. And then there comes the shame.
Yeah.
But we can change that. We have the power in ourselves to change our thoughts and how we feel. All the thoughts on that page that I put up are available to you right now. You could feel successful right now, Alicia, before that business even got off the ground because you've taken the steps to begin, right? So we can feel successful now. We can feel accomplished now. We can feel abundance right now, even if you haven't made any money yet. Okay, you can feel all those things. They're all there.
I haven't had to worry about because it's all spending and not making yet. But
right, and that's okay. I mean, at the beginning of a business, I actually told this someone yesterday because she was like, we were talking about coaching, actually, I'll be honest. She's like, I don't know if I want to spend money on coaching. And she's like, I'm just starting. I said, when I started, I took out my Chase Inc. credit card, Maggie, that had zero, it was Maggie's doing it, had zero interest on it. And I spent probably almost close to $20,000 with zero interest for a whole year.
It just takes money to even start a services-based business.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you
So
have to get all your
and I'll tell you,
software and
I did not tell my husband that I opened that credit card. I will say that. Okay.
We did the same thing. I put it on a credit card.
I need to separate it. That's another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him, and then when he found out, he was like, "We've never had credit card balance." I mean, he was kind of, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And there's my ego. Okay, the little voice in the back of my head's like, "He's not going to think this is a good idea." And I was like, "Nope, but I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna be able to pay this back, no problem. I can create that money." And I did. I have but that little confidence piece, because it was something I'd never done before. Are you sure you should do this? Yeah, it's scary.
It's scary. Yeah, it's that next step.
It's like
All
jumping
right,
off
I have to
cliff.
hop off because I have a client that I'm already 4 minutes late for. But I will send you a follow-up email, and I hope you do join some of these other sessions, and do feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, thank you guys for being here.
Bye,
Have a great
thanks.
day. Bye-bye.
Bye.